Okay, so by far one of the most frequently asked questions that I get in my Instagram DMs is how do my Instagram stories look so professional? What lens am I using? What camera am I using? How is it so stable? And most of the time people are really shocked when I tell them that, hey, I'm just using my iPhone for these stories. But I do have some tips and secret settings that I use to make sure that my Instagram stories stand out and are really, really high quality without me having to use my R5 or anything and then just using the convenience of my iPhone. So today I'm gonna give you guys a peek under the hood for how I achieve these professional looking Instagram stories. I'm a globetrotter. You and I pick your nine, we just different. Okay, so step one to getting professional looking Instagram stories is to get an iPhone. And this is not some kind of Apple fanboy argument of Android versus Apple. Instagram stories uploaded from iPhones just look better. And there's a very specific reason for this. Whenever app developers try and optimize their apps for any one operating system, they generally favor Apple because iOSs are way more consistent and way more predictable than Android, where you have a ton of different operating system settings and things that you can tweak with. So generally most apps are optimized for Apple devices. That's why even if you have the latest Samsung Galaxy, and I don't know which one you guys are on now, S5 million, 10 million, whatever. Even if you have the newest Samsung phone and you upload an Instagram story from it, it's probably gonna look like trash, and that's the reason why. So step number one, if you don't have an iPhone and you wanna be a professional quality content creator on Instagram or any social media app, get an iPhone. Okay, so moving on to step number two, and for some reason Apple devices don't come configured for the best quality. Apple really favors efficiency and storage saving, and the reason for that is pretty obvious. The storage sizes for Apple devices are pretty unusable as content creators unless you're subscribed to iCloud and you have the 2 terabyte option, which I'm getting pretty close to filling up. And I'm kind of panicking because I don't know what I'm gonna do after that, but anyways, this is not about me. So when you first get your iPhone, it's not gonna be set up for the best quality, so we're gonna fix that. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your settings app, you're gonna go into camera under settings, and then you're gonna click on video recording. Now this is gonna be set to 1080p most likely, and we're gonna change this to 4K at 60 frames per second. 4K being the highest quality your iPhone can shoot in, and yes, your iPhone can shoot in 4K. I can't tell you how many people I've shown this to and their minds were completely blown. They didn't even know their Apple device could shoot in 4K. So we're gonna change it to 4K, and I'll explain in a second why we're gonna choose 60 frames per second. The next thing you wanna do is you wanna make sure that HDR is turned on, and this will give you that full 10-bit, or what our Apple claims to be their 10-bit HDR, but basically it'll give you the maximum quality output that your iPhone is capable of shooting in. So just with that one little button, you're gonna see an instant improvement in your video quality. Okay, let's move on to step number 3. And now we're gonna jump into the actual camera app. Now I know a lot of people love recording Instagram stories inside the Instagram app itself because they like to use their filters and their effects and whatever, but repeat after me. We are never going to record an Instagram story in the Instagram app ever again. Never. Okay? Now that you've made that promise, let me explain why. The video quality and the recording quality inside the camera app is much better than the Instagram app itself, and you can record in that 60 frames per second, which you might not be able to do in the Instagram app. So now that you've opened up your new camera app, it should say 4K and 60 at the top. If it does not, then just tap on the actual 4K at the top right, or the number at the top right to change it until you're dialed into 4K at 60 frames per second. So now that we have our video quality and our frame rate set up, the next thing you want to do is at the bottom, you'll see that there might be this 0.5x icon. Now this will only be available if you have one of the iPhones with the super wide angle lens, but if you do, this is the lens that you want to select and you want to shoot your Instagram stories in, because instantly it's going to create a different perspective that most iPhone and Apple and any smartphone really users are not really used to. It gives you that look of a more professional lens and a more professional camera, so instantly that different perspective will make your viewers think that you're shooting with something other than an iPhone. Now earlier we chose 60 frames per second. Now 60 frames per second in a cinematic or a filmmaking world is generally reserved for slow motion. Instagram stories is the one place where I break this rule. And the reason for that is combined with that wide angle lens, the 4K, and using that 60 frames per second, the iPhone creates this super HDR, very high quality look, which just looks different than everyone else's Instagram stories and instantly catches your attention. So while in filmmaking terms they might not be correct use of 60 frames per second, it makes your Instagram stories look different and higher quality, which is the whole point of this video. And honestly, most people are blown away when I show them this 0.5x lens, because so many people have had their iPhone for years. I guess it was a feature that was introduced just a couple years ago, so people don't even know how it exists. And when I show them and they see the lens change in front of them and so much more of the landscape become available, they are truly blown away. So if you have that 0.5x lens, make sure that you're using it for your Instagram stories. If you have an older Apple device and you don't, then don't worry, just use the 1x. The 60 frames per second will still benefit you. And that's it, guys. Those are my secret settings and tips for how I make my Instagram stories look more professional just using my iPhone. So hopefully those tips really help you out, and before long, before you know it, people will be reaching out to you asking you, hey, what camera are you using to make these amazing looking Instagram stories? And hopefully you'll direct them to this video. But anyways, that's it for this video, and I've missed you guys. I haven't posted in a while, but if you were watching my Instagram stories, see what I did there? If you're watching my Instagram stories, you'll know that I was busy traveling. I was in Ireland and Italy, and hopefully I have some content from that coming to YouTube soon. But I'm back now, so more content definitely on the way, more YouTube videos. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, do the whole like thing, do the whole subscribe thing. I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, keep creating.